They can choose to, if they desire, move onto a deck which is the same class and a 25 cards the same, but also they can swap out 5 different cards. So what have they switched to, Language Hacker, and what impact is this going to make?
Well, Tyler has switched to his secondary deck, which takes out a Frost Nova Mind Control tech, 2 Astromancers, which we saw were kind of heavy last game, and a Sea Giant to add in 2 Acidic Swamp Oozes, so add in some Weapon Hate, 2 Vex Crows, and Giggling Inventor, clear knotted rogue, obviously, which is what Glory's playing. Glory has switched to his tertiary deck, which takes out a Shadow Step, Bloodsail Corsair, 2 Life Drinkers and a Ziliax, and adds in a second copy of Sap, 2 Walk the Planks, so some heavy single target removal, and 2 Henge Clan Thugs, which is we've seen in the past has been pretty powerful against Mage, as Tyler's Mage does not have that much removal short of Ray of Frosts, which aren't really the best way of removing minions.
Yeah, it's not the core, prime use of the card. It's
Right.
mainly used as a stall. Sometimes you have to double up and remove something with it. But now we see a slow-ish start for Tyler. He does have potential explosive turns with this magic trick. There's the mirror image and of course the evocation into Cyclone play, the sort of signature play of the deck. But he does have to get there and see how much he even wants to commit here.
So Glory with the Walk the Plank draw, he's cutting out this Henge Clan Thug really early, saying, all right, this is going to connect face multiple times. If you play big minion, I'm going to Walk the Plank it. Tyler, interestingly, can double dip with these, maybe not this turn, but in the next couple turns, he can double dip with a Mana Cyclone, playing 3, 4 spells perhaps, and then in one turn playing both Mana Cyclones, effectively getting 8 cards back.
Right. I mean, that will definitely be a big turn, and then suddenly Tyler's in a game mode that does not exist, where he's just playing with a ton of cards that weren't in his deck. The biggest deal here now is just this Henge Clan Thug. Like, is it already just going to push a lot of damage?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to connect fix this turn. Glory is deciding what he wants to do. He can either just dagger up, he can choose to deadly poison with it, but he should expect that Tyler switched. Obviously, these players are blind picking these decks, so Tyler doesn't know for sure that Glory switched to his tertiary list, but he can assume. And likewise, Glory should assume that Tyler probably switched to his anti-rogue list. So
Yeah,
Tyler will a lot, actually.
Tyler will know now because of the Henge Clan Thug, right?
Right.
That was an addition. But yeah, Glory's of course not 100% sure yet. But yeah, I do love this. Use the prep, get the deadly poison. So not only do you push more damage, you also generate an additional minion. And now Tyler has to get some relatively quick answers to this, because this is just quickly, especially with Leroy Eviscerate, it's just lethal. It's just over the course of a few turns.
Yeah, we've been talking about this a lot, and all these rogue players are very good at recognizing what needs to be done. If you have a lot of time and you can make these explosive turns, I'm not going to give you the time. I'm just going to try to kill you.
And this is why Tyler's just having to go in, right?
Yep.
And like you said, he is going to double up with his Mana Cyclone, so... Oh, here we go. Cinderstorm, pretty good.
A lot
Blizzard,
of mirror images.
Not bad at all, but about 1,000 mirror images, along with even an Ice Barrier as well. It can buy Tyler a lot of time.
Ziliax won't hurt either. The Mana Cyclones themselves on board aren't terrible either, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, not bad at all.
Deckhand draw will let him clean up one of the images cleanly.
Most importantly, push a lot of damage to face.
Not a huge reason to trade into these Mana Cyclones. He can use his dagger to clean it up. That way he saves his minions. But I imagine this Henge Clan is only going upstairs. Can read dagger as well. Tyler isn't running Harrison. And even if he is, I think the read dagger is just fine. Get the mana out of the way now.
And I think killing one of the Cyclones actually just makes this Henge Clan as safe as it can be, whilst not really losing too much damage. So I do like this. Next turn, there's potentially Leroy or just the Eviscerate with a card drawn. But then also there's just Walk the Plank, which is going to get rid of this. It's going to get rid of this Ziliax. Very nice.
We'll see what he wants to use. Oh, with double of this. Yeah, ooh. Maybe he will Walk the Plank.
I think he Walk the Plank because Eviscerate can go face and Walk the Plank definitely cannot.
So Glory should know that, how many of these cards? 3, 6, 7 of them are randomly generated, I believe. Mm-hmm. So there's only 2 natural cards. He might want to save Walk the Plank in case one of those cards is Giant and Tyler happens to find another Conjurer's Calling.
It's tough, right? Because I was even wondering whether you Walk the Plank that turn and just slam Leroy the next and then have a card plus double of this from hand to maybe just kill them, right? Because the one thing Rogue can't do is beat just spells from hand. It's the taunts you have to worry about, which is why the Walk the Plank was kept. But also I think just getting double of this to face as the finisher is more important.
Tyler drawing the Mountain Giant from the deck. That was guaranteed since both Cyclones were in hand already. Those being the only 2 elementals in the deck, the 2 Cyclones and the 2 Giants.
And if Tyler passes here, it's...
I think he's deciding whether or not he wants to, A, play the second images to...
okay.
Right.
Because what I was thinking was if he passed and left 2, right? Then, honestly, I would consider, if I was Glory, using Abyss Walk the Plank
Just to push
to
the
push
Hench Clan.
8, and then you set up lethal, right? You don't
Little Leroy.
presume there's about 18 more mirror images. So you'd use those resources up, and then Tyler could go back. But with so many mirror images, he's safe this turn. He's also relatively safe next turn. And he has Frost Nova. And he also has
Barrier
the Giggling
and
Inventor
Giggling.
next turn.
He's got a lot of defensive
Yeah.
options. Glory doesn't have that much gas left in the hand, right? We got some burst, but it's not quite enough to get there.
It's one of the reasons why I was honestly wondering whether he just walked the Plank Ziliax, because he's effectively -4 damage to face that he could have for want of keeping hold of a Walk the Plank. I 100% understand the merits of holding Walk the Plank, of course, but in this matchup when the only thing the mage can do to stop you is taunt.
Perhaps. I mean, it's definitely something to consider. Glory recognizing now that he kind of just has to clean up the board, playing the Edwin, activate the Eviscerate, preventing any Conjurer's Callings from going out in the Sandbinder. He's kind of running thin on gas. He's trying to keep this Hench Clan alive and as big as he can. Looking like he's hoping for a Myra's draw. With the Elementalification, Tyler can play with the Giant for mana cheaper, but that doesn't accomplish a whole lot. It lets him use it with Ice Barrier and another images if he wants to. He could just play with the Giggling Inventor.
And the problem here is Glory's had to deviate from his just full face plan. He just eviscerated a 2/4. Right? So now he's... I'm not saying this is bad, but now he's like -8 damage, which means he just can't just blatantly go face anymore and go for lethal. He has to try and play some kind of longer game. The Walk the Plank's great, but he's one other card, the Leroy, means that he just doesn't have good options. His next draw or two has to be fantastic, or Tyler's just bought enough time to do whatever the hell he wants, to be honest.
I wonder if Tyler's thinking about if he wants to hold this Giant until he draws Conjurers, or just throw it out now with perhaps a barrier.
I don't mind Giggling here.
I think the Giggling is a lot better for a couple reasons. One, you can save the Giant until you get Conjure Calling, or at least until a later turn. But two, just with like a backstab pickup, that would push a... Wait, actually, did he cut backstabs from this list? No, he still has backstab. So with a backstab pickup, backstab, Dagger swinging into the 0/1, Edwin cleaning up a 0/2, that Hench Clan could go face. So I like getting out these taunts here. He's probably going to be happy to see a Walk the Plank come out on a Noitron.
Oh, 2 Discover spells. That
Wow.
changes things.
Does. Get some cheeky things off of this.
Small note as well, it was extremely unlikely for the actual Giggling Inventor to die that turn,
Right.
which means it's a fantastic target for the Conjurer's Calling, yeah. And it means that Tyler wouldn't necessarily have to commit a Giant to get a good Conjurer's Calling turn at all. He could spend more mana just doing whatever he wants more than anything.
Arcane Intellect going to try to dig for something. I mean, he's got a lot of spells, but they don't do quite enough to deal with the current board state.
Yeah.
Blizzard can stall a turn. I think with the Walk the Plank gone, and there's 2 lackeys in hand, you might get to the point where you just want to play out this Giant, and then another Mirror Images behind it. The Giggling Inventor can clean up the Edwin. It's frustrating not having a Conjure Calling, but you need to do something, right? You can't just wait, because eventually Glory could find enough ways to get through your Mirror Images and make this Hench Clan and Leroy connect.
Yeah, especially seeing 2 lackeys, like almost anything's possible at that point.
Yeah.
Like 2 lackeys, we can see it's 2 of the powerful ones with 2 Discover spells, which then could be damage. It could Discover a Myra's, which changes the game. Even just Sprint. There's loads of things that you could discover that actually have a huge impact on this game that Tyler seems to have a strong hold of now.
Tyler taking defensive option here, taking the turn 2 develop Ice Barrier, so that when these Mirror Images do come down, Glory shake of the head, laughing a little bit. That's the 3rd or 4th Mirror Images this game. But Tyler taking another defensive turn.
Head crack, not bad. Maybe Shiv's better.
Not sure you want... Yeah.
He's got to go for the head crack plan. Yes, Glory.
This is cute. I don't hate this. Probably Walk the Plank here. The other 2 don't quite fit the situation.
I mean, you don't want a Leroy scheme.
No. It'd be funny.
It would be funny. I do love the head crack, though.
I do like the head crack as well.
Do you Shadow Step the lackey?
I think you might want to hold it for the Leroy, but
Okay.
you could.
It's tough, right?
Okay,
miscreant.
Get some more stuff out.
I was thinking more of a generation of a spell, but this generates 2 things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so whatever.
Rushlack would be
Yeah.
nice. It lets you clean up one another.
Glory just laughed. Glory, what's funny is Glory would have actually liked not those 2. You would have, for example, +1 attack rush would have killed another 0/2. You know, a deal 2 obviously kills off a mirror image too. It's plenty of stuff to play with Headcrack though. Tyler's on a clock now because he will just die to Headcrack eventually.
Well, I think the Henge Clan's a bigger clock, but the Headcrack isn't bad.
Right, but Henge Clan he can do something about. He can kill it. He can freeze
no way to
it.
stop
You can't stop Headcrack outside of a counter spell, right? So, you know, there's just a clock that Tyler can't really turn off.
So it looks like Tyler's taking this turn to go in
Deep.
Yep. AI to find some more cards. Elemental Evocations at the Giant, so he can play the Sea Giant, as well as a Ray of Frost to stop the Henge Clan. With an Ice Barrier up, he knows he's a little bit safe, so now he actually has some sort of proactive game plan. And with a Blizzard and a Nova in hand, he could just ignore the board and try to connect face twice and kill Glory that way. Fortunately, Glory did pick up a Walk the Plank off of the Ethereal Lackey last turn, so he does have an answer for at least one of these, but he has to consider whether or not he can play around Spellbender, I guess. He's tested for Counterspell and Mirror Image and Splitting Image, but it could still be Spellbender.
Tyler just showing off his Hearthstone flask. I like it. Okay, this is nuts. I actually thought Glory was going to set up Headcrack Lethal next turn. Because he could have traded away the mirror images, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Which is all the minions he has on board.
I'll go for Leroy.
He could just deckhand Leroy. Oh no, Tyler's got 2 1/1s. Doesn't matter, it fills up board space. And Headcrack. Puts your opponent, and he swings the dagger as well, actually, so puts your opponent to 1. Am I going crazy, or is that not right?
No, the math is there.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously pretty good because the discovered betrayal.
Yeah.
But to set your opponent to 1, you would have had to have just played the minions out and used all your mana anyway. This is a fantastic clear, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But what is Tyler going to do?
I mean, against exactly Ice Barrier, so that would be a bit of a problem.
100%, yeah. I'm just saying from Glory's point of view, if he wanted to do it, he would have had to have committed at least the deckhand, right?
Yeah.
But from his first play that turn, he was never going to do it.
I'm sure Conjurer's Calling is in the deck somewhere.
Does have Blizzard, and somehow another mirror image.
Right.
Are we on 5 this game? I feel like it's 5.
Yeah, I think there might be 5. It might have been 5.
Also very cheap Rabble Bouncer.
Taking the turn to Luna's Pocket Galaxy, holding off a little bit on the complete board freezes.
He is not happy with the betrayal. That's a language hacker special.
Well, powerful card. 2 mana, deal 8.
Yeah, pretty good. Sometimes 16.
So Glory knows that there are now, I believe, 2 random cards left in Tyler's hand, unless the Nova was also randomly generated. So
no, the Nova's been in hand since the start.
Right. So there's a bit less to play around now. Glory can kind of try to plan out the next couple turns and think of how to finish up this game.
Starting off with just 1 and a combo effect, and there's another walk.
I've never seen so many walk the planks in a game.
Yeah. I'm worried as to why the ship has so many planks.
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. And now going in with a Leroy, using the lackeys to clean up the whelps, leaving the Leroy on the board as a threat. Continuing to push some damage with the rest of the minions and the Headcrack.
I love it so much.
I tried to make Headcrack work at some point. It just couldn't.
Yeah. Got to take a leaf out of Glory's book.
Yeah.
Generate it, and then against a deck that can't heal. And again, it's just I feel like 2 games in a row, the betrayal was into what the plan was clutch.
Yeah,
100%. You know, don't get me wrong, but I feel like outside of that, Tyler's just never really, you know, dug the claws into the game. You know, he never really done something big and got the big minions on the board or got the big board somehow with even like Vex Crows, for example. It's just not happened for him, right?
There are Vex Crows in this deck too.
Yeah, there are.
Oh my god.
He has Pocket Galaxy though, so it's going to be 1 mana if he does draw it.
I mean, look at this Henge Clan. This Henge Clan was coined out in turn 2.
Yes. Henge Clan's a good card. have Blizzard though.
It's done quite a bit, right? Yeah, he can delay the turn a couple. He can delay the game a couple more turns, but he needs to find. He's on 9 health. He knows there's a head crack in hand.
The good thing for Tyler is he knows Leroy is now gone.
Right.
Which is a big deal. That's a lot of health. He knows double eviscerate's gone. He's got to be the head crack clock. So I think he has to Blizzard with Rabble Bouncer. And maybe even just play the mirror images, because why not?
Yep. I think I agree.
Yeah. Just get rid of the big threats. You don't want stuff Shadow Stepped or bounced in some weird fashion. This Rabble Bouncer almost always lives, except for the Walk the Plank times. But again, I don't think Glory needs to walk the plank.
I think he will. There's not much left to walk the plank.
You know what? Yeah, for Conjurers, right?
Yeah, there's not much left, honestly.
And just this head crack. Is that 6 now? Is that 6 on the head crack clock?
Yeah.
6 or 8? I think 6.
What do you mean, how much damage has been done, or what's left?
How much damage is done?
Yeah, I think that's the 3rd head crack.
Town needs a dream. Oh.
Okay.
I mean, you can summon more. You can summon more, yeah.
That, I mean, not quite what you want, but it'll do. You need to be doing something, right?
Yep.
It's going to be difficult for Tyler to come back. I mean, like you said, he's on a 3-turn clock now with the head crack, funnily enough. I don't know if he can generate a big enough board that will let him deal 26 damage to Glory.
That's it. That's why. And imagine as well, if that secret just wasn't the ice barrier, right? Which gained the extra health.
He'd be dead.
Like, Tyler would just be dead.
Yeah.
And that head crack has a lot to do with it, because as I said, it's unavoidable outside of a generated counterspell.
And there's not many ways you can generate counterspell now, right?
Yeah, even... Because even
Magic trick?
Spellbender doesn't proc
Right.
Spellbender, right? So it's literally counterspell that would stop you chaining it.
And you could even play around it too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's so powerful now when you're already putting pressure on your opponent, and you know they're not putting pressure on back. He has to do this.
Yeah, he pretty much has to. I'm curious if he wants to... He's probably just going to Ray of Frost instead of the Frost Nova. Let's go and Cinderstorm this turn too, just to get it out. He's probably holding on to the Ooze, maybe hoping Glory will equip a Waggle Pick to try and deal with the mirror images, but...
Also, he missed the ping.
Oh, he did,
Yep.
yeah.
Tyler's showing us the L. He's about to pick an L up, I think, because... Not as big a rope issue as we've seen today, but even just missing pings, he has to do something, right, to get as much damage as possible. And now this clock's even quicker because there's the Kobold Lackey into head crack next turn.
He's not even killing the images. Wait, did I miss something? Is there a reason he's not killing the images?
Board space? He knows he wins next turn.
Right.
So I guess he just doesn't want anything crazy generated.
I suppose. I guess some sort of like double conch calling top deck, but you can still make 3 minions on the board. There is board space for that. Interesting. Probably inconsequential. Like you said, he does have the final head crack and the lackey to the Kobold Lackey to finish off the game. And with that, Glory's gonna take it 2-0. Rogue takes win over Mage.
Yeah, pretty powerful victory there, and I do feel like maybe one of the cracks we're starting to